Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shadow League. It's week 3 of the group stage, which is the final week of the group stage. We will today know the final placing of the teams on the table that you can see on your screen. Today we're going to be, once again, spectating Raccoon and Ravagers. It's just how it works with 3 weeks of playing. And they're going to be playing Suwon Tigers today, which we have not seen on stream. I am joined today with Yoshi. Hi, Yoshi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, so we have some quick changes to Raccoon and Ravagers I want to quickly go over before they start this match. They still have MP replacing CRS from the original lineup, but instead of Chroma, the squad leader, playing DPS, we have Nebster going on DPS and Chroma's back to tank. That is the only change on that team. Let's talk about Suwon Tigers for a little bit. Because we haven't seen them yet. I did mention them a bit over the first 2 weeks, but basically they've got Hardsider squad leader with the FL of that team being also tank, being Tattles. Their DPS lineup is Dosh and FMS with Lone Wolf and Sharky as their support. Now they've had 4 losses, but they have been close losses. They haven't really gotten just like completely rolled over. So it's definitely, they just had a bit of bad luck. I also want to apologize. You're going to hear a lot of bangs. I can't do anything about it. It's Halloween as of streaming if you're watching on the VODs. So there's just going to be fireworks. So you're going to have to bear with me and try and not focus on them too much. Originally, Suwon Tigers for the last 2 weeks have had Suroker as their support. Lone Wolf is subbing in this week. To just fill that role of I think off support, although he might switch to main support. We'll have to see. The maps today are Blizzard World, Volskaya Industries, and Ilios. That's kind of my recap on where we are in the league, how the playoffs will work. They'll be in 2 weeks from now. First place will play against fourth place, and then the middle 2 teams will play against each other in the playoff. Both playoffs will be streamed. They will be 1 week after each other. Suwon is guaranteed, I think, to finish bottom. Even if they win both games today, they still lost to Pesky Pachamaris, which means they will still be at the bottom. So no matter what, Suwon Tigers will be playing whoever ends up on the top of the leaderboard. Who can end up on the top of the leaderboard is either Raccoon Ravagers or Strike Team 404. I think that Pesky Pachamaris can finish top, but only if they 2-0 against Strike Team 404. So it will be interesting to see. So Yoshi, you've played a lot of Overwatch. It's been a while. I don't know how much you've been playing it of recent, but what do you think of the map lineup for today? So just to remind everyone, Blizzard World, Volskaya Industries, and Ilios.
Let's see. Starting off with Blizzard World, I'd like to see how attacking is going to be for both teams. Since the choke for the first point is rather tough. It can be tough to get through, especially with the high ground on the right side by the little roller coaster there. I'm guessing we might be seeing quite a bit of Pharah to go, and Pharmacy, I would say. But other than that, I'm kind of more worried about first point.
Yeah, I think Pharmacy might be a possibility, but it's going to be a dangerous one. Both teams have the hit scan capabilities to shut that down. But we'll just have to see how the teams come out here. We're starting up now on Blizzard World, and we'll soon see the first picks. But I definitely think this first choke is going to show a lot. So normally when you play this map, you're going to either set up on the right side here, right side of point, and kind of play that long angle, or you want to take the high ground initially. I'm not a huge fan of the high ground. I don't think it works as much as people think it will. So I'm hoping most teams will just take the safe option and hold right side of point, because it makes for easy rotations. You're kind of cutting yourself off a little bit by going on this high ground. So it looks like we aren't going with Pharmacy here on either team. It looks like a Zenyatta play from Suwon Tigers, which might be pretty good at keeping down the tanks, because Chroma and MP have not had enough time to kind of practice with each other, as this is the first match they're actually playing. They're actually playing as a duo. So Raccoon's had a pretty good, map strat for last matchup. So I'm wondering if they actually went over these maps as well and have a game plan here. They are taking the high ground initially, though, which may work out for them. FMS on the 76 coming in for the high ground. We are seeing the Sigma on a double shield play from Raccoon Ravagers, which is not as common of late as it used to be.
Let's see if Suwon Tigers can pressure this high ground and take control. If they take control of this high ground, they can easily take control of the point.
Yeah, if they can manage to push them off here, they're going to have to come with a game plan here. Raccoon's managed to hold on for the high ground for now, but it seems like a very unusual comp to go with here. I don't really see Chroma really ever playing Orisa. It's definitely a weird pick for me, but it might just be a first point strat. But they have immediately taken them off high ground, which has a huge advantage for Suwon going forward here. It looks like they're just going to take every high ground and then try and push the whole of Raccoons to point. Almost getting Larix, like, saves himself with the Immortality Shield. That's huge. And Nebster is the first time he's playing DPS since the last season comp teams. Definitely a different player on DPS than he is on tank. An early bomb from table.
And that will do it.
I think...
Looks like Raccoon Ravagers managed to push them off point and take control. Let's see if they'll go back to the high ground or just keep at the choke.
I think they'll abandon the high ground now. They know that Suwon are a lot stronger with their dive comp right now. But that was a huge old generation from table there. Obviously with the Mercy to help him, it's a lot easier. But a Bob within the first minute and a half is a good sign for the next push. And that's a nanoed monkey coming out. Tattle's pushing in with Heartsider here. Nebster going ultimate, but being pinned down by Tattle's. Tattle's taking the high ground, trying to get Mercy off of the table pocket. Heartsider now capitalizing on it. Nebster managed to get a pick. FMS getting a return pick. Sharky getting a pick. But Raccoon Ravagers just managing to hold off the attack there. I don't know what Sharky was doing there. Sharky was going full DPS. I don't know if he was defending himself or he's the only one who's still in. He hasn't gone back yet. Tal's having to rescue him there, but it's not going to be enough, and it's going to be a delayed regroup from Suwon. Unusual. Not the people I expected to get picks there, but definitely worked out. But it just meant that Raccoons just had that extra time to capitalize on the fact that their healer was being jumped.
Yeah, it was a good idea for them to nano monkey and go on their backline, but the thing that fell apart was the immortality coming from Alarix's Oh, here's another fight here.
Suwon are taking the high ground immediately each time, but they're not being able to actually use it for themselves. Their goals seem to mostly be take high ground and then go straight to point anyway. Which is not a bad strat for getting them off the high ground, but I feel like if you're getting high ground that easily, you should really be using it for yourselves. Tattle's still in here, which could be a big delay if he loses his mech and they just leave him alive. They're using Nano. Tattle goes in with Nano, but the rest of the team just isn't there. It's only Diva and Anna actually on point. Which, doesn't exactly... You're just not going to take the point with those two. But they do get a pick nonetheless, me saying that. Heartsider low on health, not getting the heals because they have Lucio, needing to get back to the point. Quick table cleans up the rest of them. And looks like it's going to be a full hold from Raccoon Ravagers. Heartsider not being able to get the heals back up. I think that was a mistake to use the nano there. It was a really delayed push and it made sure that the regroup just wasn't going to be possible for them for another push. Yeah, definitely unusual. I don't know what to think about that strat. I don't know if it was a panic or it was a miscommunication of how many they thought were with them. But that should have been Tattles jumping off the map with Sharky there. Did you catch how much time was left on the clock when that ult was thrown?
It was about 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds is enough time to regroup, especially on this map.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like more of a panic nano ult on the Diva. They're just trying to stall a little bit of time, but Nano on Diva isn't really that effective. If it was Monkey there, maybe, but for Diva, not so much.
Yeah, I think it was a good play from Suwon, but again, it's the whole thing of taking high ground quite easily without any trouble, but then just not utilizing it is a big issue. Because I think in a brawl match, Raccoon's comp was just better. It was always going to kind of outmatch. You needed to really focus on the Raccoon's healers, which they tried to do. They tried to jump on Lucy to get away from table, but the damage wasn't there to really get her down. It looks like they're switching to a more bunker comp though here. No hit scan from Suwon, so if Raccoons just take out the Pharah, it would be very hard to take them down with just the turret helping. Let's see how they roll out here. We've got a ball on Raccoon Ravagers side, is it? Yeah, Chroma going for the ball. Normally, Nebster would play ball. We saw a lot of ball played on last week's game. I think even a play of the game coming out for Nebster. Raccoon's immediately going to see if they could take high ground, I think, or maybe just possibly re-ball. It's leaving Raccoons to only push with Sigma Shield, though, which might not be enough without the ball distracting. He's going to wait for now, though, however. Table going to try and push the high ground. He's going to take out turret. Turret goes down with a big pick. Oh, Dush taking down 2, and Hardsider taking out table. That they've got a Nebster in the back line. Yeah, Nebster is a really good Sombra, but for this map, I'm not sure he's going to have the targets he wants here. FMS getting res in the back line. Ball is still above, on point. MP waiting for his team on the Ruby Crude. Nebster getting a huge pick in the back line. One of the DPS going down for Suwon Tigers. Ball coming in with support here. MP taking the high ground here, being charged back into a wall. Still alive for now. Does manage to get the final kill now. Hardsider gets the pick. It's being trade here. It's going to be sloppy. They need to get the ball out of the way. Splitting up here. The res comes out for MP. Chroma doing his job and distracting the backline here. Nebster getting a huge hack on Hardsider, distracting the rest of the team. Can't use the shatter going out now. It's a huge shatter. Table unfortunately is still up, however, and he might be able to get the pick on it. EMP comes out. Hardsider gets 2 picks, but Raccoons managed to get 3. Nebster finishing it off. Dosh is left, and Table takes him down, and that's going to be first game to Raccoon Ravagers. A very tight fight. I think it was good from Suwon. However, the distraction plays from Ball with Sombra just, I think, took enough of their attention that it didn't quite work. I think if Hardsider had managed to get Table with his ult there, that would have gone slightly differently. But in the heat of the moment, I mean, getting 3 people down is huge. You know, it's just unfortunate that Ash was allowed to remain up.
Yeah, that was really good from Raccoon, just playing off of Sombra cooldowns, and they're playing it really slow, just counting down the seconds, and once Sombra had that EMP, that kind of turned the tides, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the problem with how DPS like Nebster play is they're playing a lot of, not off meta because there's no real off meta right now in Overwatch, but they're playing heroes you typically don't come up against in normal comp, which means you know, it's harder to develop strats around them, especially in the so little time week by week. You just can't account for that kind of play. But I think it was well done by Raccoons. They used what they were good at. They didn't go for some on paper Overwatch League meta. They just went with what they could play, and it worked out. Updating the leaderboard then, it does mean that Raccoons go tied for first place. They're only below because they have 1 extra loss. Suwon obviously remain bottom for now, but that is going to be first map. I think the skill is there on Suwon's side. I just again think that they have a similar problem that Strike Team, or not Strike Team, but Pesky Pachmaris had last week, which was they have the skill, but I don't think they practice the maps. Now, like I said, there's 1 week between these matches, so there's not a huge amount of time to actually get a whole team together and go through map tactics. but I feel like Raccoons had better understanding of their rotations when they lost that high ground, and also with their attack options, they split well enough that they could still maintain support on each other, but without losing the advantage. So I think again, a map preparation was a big difference there, but also player wise, I do think Raccoons played a little bit better, with just which targets they focused more than anything. I think if you put pressure on Raccoon's supports, it's gonna really damage them, but no team has really done that so far, except for Strike Team. So moving into the next match, which is our map, which is Volskaya Industries. This is another 2-point map. So basically, you take first point, and then you have to regroup and take second one. This can end in a draw. It's known for possibly being one of the most hated maps, types at least. But it's definitely one that we can see a lot of strats on. Yoshi, what do you think we'll see going into Volskaya?
No, after looking at the previous match with Blizzard World, Suwon Tigers does have a good possibility of taking first point relatively quick, since they do have quite a bit of a good dive comp. But with Raccoon Ravagers, they do have a really good tendency on just holding their ground, especially with the supports just dishing out a lot of healing and support. So I'm kind of curious on how first point is going to be. Second point could be a little bit different, knowing that it does take does take a lot longer for the attackers to actually take point, since there's a lot of corners that defenders can hide between and set up either traps or I would say like pinching maneuvers.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, what we're going to find here, is that I think Raccoons are attacking first, and I think if Raccoons take first point, I think Suwon's weakness is going to be the steamroll from that first point. I think if they can hold their defense if they lose first point, then I think they might have a chance at holding them off. But I think if they panic when they lose first point and don't regroup well, I think Raccoons are just going to take both points simultaneously. So it's going to be a danger, and they need to watch out for that, because it's a huge morale dip if they lose both points and Raccoons have 5 minutes left on the clock. Going into attacking with that on the back is not great. If they can at least hold out, maybe get Raccoons under 1 minute if they are going to lose 2 points, that'll be a huge advantage going forward. I have word from the other match. Strike Team 404 have won Blizzard World 2-0 against Pesky Pachamaris, which means they are now top of the leaderboard again with a 2-point gap. They can still end up second if they lose both the next maps against Pesky Pachamaris. But as it stands, if they win this next match, they will end at the top of the group and will be playing against Suwon Tigers in the playoffs, which means Raccoon Ravagers will be playing Pesky Pachamaris. But we'll have to see and wait and hear back from the other match. As for this one, we'll hopefully see a bit more strength from Suwon. I hope they do, because I subbed for Suwon on the first week, and they played really well. And from what I saw of last week, they also played well. They've just had some bad luck, some small mistakes that have kind of steamrolled. So we'll hopefully get into the match soon. Comment in chat. Plupple says 100% hog diff. I don't think there was a hog in that match, if I'm remembering right.
Probably just trolling as always. I'm definitely curious to see how Nepture's going to play this here. Assuming he's going to go Sombra on attack. He's going to have a lot of... he's going to just be annoying the enemy defenses a lot. I
think we might see a Sombra Pharah combo here. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like that distraction from Nebster in the backline with Table playing Pharah is going to be too strong. Like I think both of them are so strong on those individual characters that it's just going to be quite hard for Suwon to take him down. Especially Suwon lack the hit scan, I think, side of things. They're very good at brawling, very good at Reaper, Doomfist, all these very heavy attacking heroes, but on defense it's going to be difficult for them to combat something like a Sombra Pharah. But maybe
Yeah.
we'll see something different. So we have a missing cat apparently on one of the teams, which is why we've got a bit delay for the second one. How the I'll get the map up list for the playoffs. The playoffs will remain best of 3, I think, but the map pool will open up a little bit to allow more draws, which means there will be tiebreaker maps. Let me just get the list here for you, and I'll read out what is upcoming. So the first playoff stage will be played on the 14th of November, and it will be Dorado, Eichenwald, and Lijiang Tara. I'm unsure if that'll be first versus second playoff, or it'll be second versus third, but we'll have to see. And then the second playoff will be Numbani, Hanamura, and Nepal. Okay, but back to this match for now. We will see the continuation of this matchup. Perfect. Right. Yeah, I think high ground here. I think they'll need to set up a back a bit because I am expecting the Pharah, or at least maybe a sim strat going around the side. But a sim strat is going to be a dangerous one here. I think only Raccoons can really afford to test out a sim strat and waste a little bit of the clock time here. But see, I think MP is initially chosen for a Diva pick based on the health bar, or that's Sigma actually. So we've got the Mercy coming out for Raccoons, which is the first step of the Fire Mercy. We got Nebster on the Sombra like we predicted. We got a bit of a dive heavy tank lineup from Raccoons, with Table opting for the Pharah, or not Pharah, with the Ashe. On the defensive side, we've got FMS also on the Ashe, with Dosh going back to his Junkrat ways, with a Baptiste and a Zenyatta, which is unusual for Suwon Tigers. But we're interested to see. Well, Hardsider and Tattles going double shield, similar to what Raccoons had done in the first matchup. His first fight is going to tell a lot about how this matchup is going to go. But we have Ball immediately going into point. Smacking straight into the main tanks here, going into the back line, getting some space initially. Nobody chasing him down quite yet. The Pharah does come out. Table was trolling me there. So this is the exact comp we thought would come out here, so we're going to prove right what we think might happen here. Snivy just completely all over Sharky here, not getting the support. Sharky goes down, which is a huge miss. FMS goes down as well. It's a 6v5 here now on point. Tal's being hacked by Sombra. Sombra just pushing in on the support here. Snivy taking down Hardsider. Lone Wolf goes down. I think that is only one person left. No, Suwon is completely wiped out and Raccoons take first point.
Looks like yeah, our prediction was kind of right with the Pharmacy. The Pharah and the Sombra strat. They just couldn't really dealing with the Sombra, taking out backline, and the Pharah right in front of them.
Now we'll see if our second part of our prediction is right here. See if Suwon Tigers can withstand the first push after Raccoons have taken a point here. See how well their defense holds up. Seem to be taking it slow, which is good here. They don't want to push up too far. They want to wait and kind of bait in the angles, but that goes Lone Wolf goes down, which is the first pick from Raccoon Ravagers. We've got Ball coming in and escaping, which is a little bit of health. Pharah on low health here, might go down. Hardsider takes out the Pharah. They need to watch out for the Mercy. If the Mercy rises here, it's a huge loss. Doesn't seem to come out here. Raccoons lose it. Chroma getting several picks here, but it's just not enough. And Suwon successfully hold off this attack. Chroma coming in trying to get a little bit more destruction here, but it looks like there's going to be a little bit more of a stronger regroup. FMS pushing a little far here.
Looking at the ult right now, we do have Nebster on 97% on his EMP. So I'm guessing this next fight might decide on whether or not Raccoon Ravagers are going to take this within 4 minutes.
Table and Lucy are waiting on the sidelines here to try and go in and barrage. Enough of a distraction on the main, but MP goes down, so it's not a good time for Table to ult here, but he's going to go in anyway. It's a huge anti. He gets 2 picks with it, but there's 3 of his teammates go down. Lucy going in with the res, trying to get a little bit more value out of it. Chroma's still up, trying to disrupt the backline when Table goes up in the high ground. He wakes up Bob, which is a hugely negative thing for him. Lucy gets pulled. Still alive, however. Table's going back in now. Bob is still up. Bob's gone. Yeah, I think Table needs to get out here. This looks like a Suwon win. As he gets kind of pushed back out of spawn here. Sharky trying to disrupt here, but Raccoon's regrouping well on point. MP ulting on point here. He gets Dosh. Dosh is going to go down. Sharky goes down. Raccoons have the advantage. They've somehow managed to pull a point around. Lone Wolf trying to stall on point with his ultimate. Tattle's going back outside. Suwon are going to have to try and quickly regroup here. Tattles is coming in for the delay. Tattles goes down. Lone Wolf goes down. There's 76 all out. Dosh gets 1. But he does get a healer, which is a huge pick. Heartsider coming in as well. MP continuing to hold the front line here. Heartsider stalling on point, but going down as well. Sharky as well once again. Lone Wolf back into delay once more. Table still up with Lucy as his pocket, and he gets another ultimate within the same fight. I think that might just be a little too much. With the hack on ball, I think it's going to be a Raccoon win. Although there's still delays coming out. They're running down the clock. It's below 3 minutes now. Heartsider's still up. FMS coming back in. Lone Wolf still on point for heals, but the anti comes up. Bob is going to stall on point for a little bit longer. It gives them a time to regroup. Tattle's still on point. Dosh coming in. FMS getting a pick with the Bob. But Table and Lucy are still up, which is going to be a big major issue here. Tattle's still stalling on point. Dosh goes down. Lone Wolf goes down. Tattle's still on point. Heartsider coming back in with Sharky. Tattle's coming back in with McCree. Heartsider continuing to waste time. Nearly a whole nother minute has gone down on point. FMS trying to focus on Table here, but he's still got Lucy up as well. They need to focus on her. Dosh coming back in as well. Ravagers is getting continuous picks, but Suwon managing to die in enough of a gap that it doesn't seem to matter too much. Table coming in with a 3rd ult in the same fight. Sharky still manages to stay survived, and Ravagers takes the point. That's a huge stall from Suwon. That is huge.
That was an insane stall, especially from, was it Tattles on ball?
Yeah, I mean that was really well done. I mean they lost it, but I think they managed to pull back a minute and a half of a stall, which is a huge amount of time to waste. They get Raccoons to 2 minutes, which on top of their, I think what they get 7.5 minutes total in their attack. That's gonna be a little bit of a morale boost, I would say, for Suwon. I think at least I would take it that way. That's a huge amount of a stall. I think that there were some points they could have taken that whole point back. Problem was, in the hecticness of trying to stall on point, it's very hard to get rid of a Pharah. And Lucy and Table consistently being there was going to always be a distraction. But they are not running Fire Mercy on defense. They're going to be running Mercy Ash with a Sigma once again. MP being very strong on that. Chroma going on the Orisa, with Nebster switching to a Reaper, which is strange. Sharky staying on the Lucio, which is going to be low heals, but I think maybe Suwon are going to push for just a less press W and hope for the best. Which honestly I think is a good play. Sometimes overwhelming your team is going to be the best option. As long as you aim for the right targets, it's not bad strat. A Sharky on Anna. It'll be very important for Suwon to stay in line of sight of Sharky here. Early bubble going out, getting some charge out. They're going to push immediately in. Like I said, they're going to just try and apply pressure. They're going to need to take the Table off of high ground, though, if they want to get in here. Tiles goes down, though, which is a huge negative one. FMS gets a pick on Nebster, however. But they don't have the tank lineup to really push that pick. If they can wait for Tattles to regroup and possibly go in, they have spawn advantage here. I think they are going to have to use it. Nebster, or Heartsider managing to get a bit of charge still up here. FMS trying to play that backline here. Trying to get a stray pick. Nebster coming in from the backline, which is going to be a big issue if they don't pick him up here. FMS has spotted him, going to go for the pick. Tattles and FMS both get early picks though, however. Table gets one back on FMS. Nebster coming in to help on point, throwing on a Heartsider. They need to take Nebster down before he gets the tanks down. If one of these tanks go down, it's a real negative for Suwon here. They managed to take him out. Heartstarter gets another pick. Dosh gets a pick. This might be Suwon Tiger taking first point. They need to get Table and Lucy off that high ground. Every team has ignored them or let the res come out, and it's been to their downfall. Table goes down and the res is coming out. Yeah, and it goes off. Chroma trying to delay enough time on point for his team to come back here. He goes down though, and Table is not jumping on point, and he's lost it. Table needs to die here. And he goes down, and Lucy goes down with him. That's a good take from Suwon, and they're going to try and pull the pressure in here with a 5-minute advantage. If they can pick off. Oh, they get 2 picks immediately, but they've lost their main tank. They don't have Mercy to hold it up. They've lost another pick here. They've put Dragon out. Bob is pushed back into the Dragon ult, but he doesn't work quite as well. Nepster gets a pick. Table gets a pick. And I think Raccoon are going to push back through here. That was a huge push from Suwon, acting on the pressure. You're getting 2 picks. But the fact that Heartstar went down, or Tattles I think went down. I'm not sure if they switched tank. Yeah, Tattles went down. Just meant that they didn't have the shield to push in all the way. Yeah, thoughts on that first initial points push and stuff, Yoshi?
Ooh, I'm still processing that whole entire first fight on the first point, but yeah, Suwon Tigers put a lot of pressure on Raccoon Ravagers and didn't.
They didn't really give him any breathing room, really.
Yeah, they didn't bother to regroup or anything. They just stalled and waited for healers to come back and DPS. They just held their own. They did really well on that push.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them on defense. They might as well try it on attack, I guess.
Yeah.
Second attack coming in from Suwon on the second point here. Chroma trying to manage his shield damage here. Having a 1v1 against Tattles. That's a huge ult from... oh, and it's a huge beat as well. Lone Wolf saves them from the ultimate from MP there. Tattles in trouble here. Chroma misses the charge, however, which might be huge. FMS gets the first pick. MP gets a pick on Lone Wolf, though. It's an even trade. Oh, then the Nano coming out on Tattles is going to be a big pick here. He's got ultimate as well, which is a big issue if... Oh, Chroma gets himself first, and he managed to get Tattles down, but Tattles is still up. There's a sleep on Chroma. Chroma goes down. Lucy is still up. Oh, and he shatters Nepster out of his ult and going to take down Lucy. Suwon, I think, are going to take this first point one more time. They need to make sure that Raccoons do not do the same hold that they did on them. Make sure they don't stagger out. Kill them as soon as they come out here. And they take it.
And they take it.
With a minute and 17 seconds more.
Jeez.
That's a huge turnaround for Suwon. I'm very impressed with how their attack went there. They knew the pressure. They slow burned it. They didn't rush. They knew they just had to play. Even when they lost a pick, they didn't panic. They kept it together.
Yeah, the problem with that I saw with the defense from Raccoon Ravagers is Nepster was trying really hard to stay out of sight and get his Death Blossom on the back line, but never had an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it's an unusual pick for Nepster. I don't really see him normally play Reaper. I'm not sure where the call came for him to play that on defense. I mean, obviously they don't want to play Sombra on defense, but I think... I don't know, it's an unusual tactic. They tried it, and it just didn't quite work out. I wonder if Raccoons are going to just go with the old favourite. It looks like they're going mostly the same strat as last time, except they're going with the Ashe instead of the Pharah. Although they did this last time, and it was a last-minute pick from Ashe to Pharah for them. It looks like Suwon are going with similar defense as what they had in Blizzard World, except FMS are going on a hit scan this time instead of only low ground. Getting rid of the Junkrat entirely from their composition. Sharky is not coming out of spawn. This is a really slow spawn rollout here. They're not going to make it in time for the defense. Sharky is going to be way too far behind for this defense. The Raccoons will be on point before Sharky even gets to the point. This looks like there was some miscommunication on how to hold this first defense here. If Raccoons notice that they're one member down, that this is going to be a big issue for Suwon. Tal's playing on the low ground here. It is a good place to hold, but it was just a very slow rollout. But Chroma immediately knocks Dosh off point. He uses his E ability. Both tanks have dropped to low ground. Dosh gets one pick. Table gets one pick. Looks like a slow burn again. Sharky's taking the high ground though, but it looks like Suwon have successfully won this first fight. Sombra's on the back line here. Sharky's going for the pick on him. Getting too distracted, Sharky is with damaging rather than healing. He's repositioned on the right side now, which is a bit of a problem as the Sombra comes back. He should stay close with his team. FMS playing on low ground. They're not letting the ball get as much space as they did in the first round. Sombra trying to disrupt backline. If he knows his Shark is alone, he might switch his target here. But Chroma's going for him instead. Hardsider tries to pull off the edge, but doesn't quite get it. The double shield is working on the point. Both tanks are able to stay on point while allowing their TPS to play high ground. Knifester takes the hack on point, but they've got the second shield to back him up. Dosh staying on high ground. I'm not sure where the turret is at the moment.
I think the turret's gone. They destroyed it.
Dosh moves to low ground here. Turret not in the best spot for a defending point here. Table takes out takes the pick here. The res coming in. The shield blocking Table from denying it. Oh, the 76 just pushing Raccoon's back. They've only got 5 seconds left. They need to get on point here. Hardsider being pushed in hard here. Bob's going to come out. This might be Raccoon's taking first point here, but it was a good defense from Suwon. They held it for the full 2 minutes, and Raccoons are only going to have 30 seconds to take second point, which they failed to do for a whole minute and a half last time. So definitely a good position for Suwon to be in, especially with 3 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock. Okay, Raccoons are going to...
Suwon Tigers...
Yeah, go on.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, no, I was going to say, just Suwon Tigers did an amazing job holding that first point. The decision to have the DPS and healers on the high ground in the back is a really great idea.
FMS gets first pick here, which is a huge block to the attacking side. Talon's getting a second pick. MP going down. Nepster getting res back up. It's still a 5v4. Table staying on the high ground trying to get a pick. Being attacked from behind. Chroma gets another pick. It's a 5v5. Table's being pushed off this point. Talos gets 2 picks here. Talos getting a third. Chroma going down here. Last bastion of the attack of the Raccoons. And they're not going to take it. They're not going to take a tick on the second point here. Which means Suwon have only lost 1 point and are in a big advantage here for taking the win. This is Suwon's to lose here. Apart from the miscommunication at the start of Suwon's defense, I think it was good. It was just a stack up of we have a pause here coming out. I think someone needs to fix something. But apart from that slow setup, I think the only thing that was Suwon's downfall there was the fact that Raccoon stacked up their ultimates and the nades came in, and they were able to just kind of steamroll over them a little bit with the help of the ultimates. But honestly, a much better defense from Suwon than we saw in Blizzard World. Raccoon Ravagers, their slow push just not seeming to work against the double shield. We're going to go straight back into this second round here. We're going to see how Raccoons decide to set up their defense here. They're going to have to try something new because they can't afford to give first point away and then just have the pressure of Suwon's potentially taking the match. Just for the fact that this could end in a draw, I'm going to explain the system for that. So in a draw, both teams will take 1 point and we will go to the third map. In the event that Raccoons get the third point and then win the next one, they will not get 5 points overall for the match. They will just max out with 4 points, I think, because that will mean they would go over strike team 4-4. I'm going to mute my mic for a second. I'm going to hand it to you, Yoshi, while these fireworks go by. So just please entertain the stream for a little bit.
I will try. All right. Yeah, those fireworks.
I think it passed there.
Fireworks on Halloween. What is that?
Yeah, fireworks on Halloween. Can you imagine? It's gonna be a lot of them. It's gonna get more crazy, but hopefully this matchup doesn't go on all night because it will get a lot worse. Believe me. All right.
Looks like Raccoon Ravagers is not gonna take a page out of Suwon Tigers' book on defense and staying back.
Raccoons are going full aggressive here, but again, Suwon are just going to go forward. They lost handles, but they did this last time too when they got pick in exchange, but the pick doesn't look like it's coming out this time. FMS not being able to get one. Table getting the pick instead, and that's going to need to be a regroup from Suwon. That's the first win defense from Raccoon Ravagers. They need to not be disheartened by this. They need to keep their morale up. A low morale here is what's going to lose a match. This is still Suwon's to lose. They still, at this point, have more time than Raccoons did. Yeah, it looks like they're going to play it safe and regroup here. Tattle's waiting for the rest of his team. The only thing I don't like about this is the Lucio, but it worked for them last time, so we'll see. They're completely ignoring the monkey, going straight in. Table getting a double kill with his nades. This is going to have to be Sharky going in the DPS again, killing Napster. But the res comes out anyway. This is still a 6v4. They're wasting time here. I think it's best for them to regroup, but they're still going to play for the pick. Heartsider goes down. They definitely need to get out now. Anyone left in that mosh pit needs to go all the way back to the choke point, or else they risk wasting more time. Table popping off some big plays here. He pretty much ended that attack before it even started with that dynamite. A double kill or a double pick on it. It's just something you can't recover from unless you manage to equally get a double pick at the same time.
Yeah, Suwon Tigers should be going for more of a slower push here. Instead of Lucio, they could have just Brigitte or Moira.
Table's got Bob now, so even if... oh, and there's Bob through a window. The grav comes out, and it's a good one. Oh, that's a lot of ults from Raccoons. They really threw them all out there. Tattle's going straight in, dying as well. That was 5 ultimates from Raccoon Ravagers. That could be very detrimental to their attack here, because Suwon's going to come back in with 1 minute to spare with 5 ultimates of their own. I don't think that was the best option for Raccoons there. I think they it's not the first time they've made a mistake of throwing too much at a defense too early. They only have the Mercy ultimate here. Ball comes in and immediately knocks Chroma off point. If they can get a first pick here, this is going to be huge. The Shatter comes down. I don't think it managed to get one. Tattles gets knocked out though. Table gets a pick. Dosh going to try and Hail Mary his ultimate. He gets nanoed with it, but he's not going to get a pick because all the shields blocking him. That's going to be it's going to be another reset. They're going to have to reset quick here though, because they only have 20 seconds. They have time for one more push. They have 1 ultimate against no ultimates on Raccoon's team. It's still in their advantage here if they manage to kind of pick up here. This is all going to be about comms. If their comms are not calm right now, if their comms aren't collected, then this is already lost for them. They need to really be communicating between themselves now. Lone Wolf going in. Tattle's going straight for point, trying to get the Immortality Field, saves him. It's a pick from FMS. It's a good ultimate, but he gets picked out by Table as well because he's still on the high ground. Sharky gets a pick as well, going DPS as we've seen most of this game. Heartsider get knocked off the point. Table being pushed back in. Heartsider's the only one left, and they don't have enough people to get on point. And Raccoons are going to take the second point. That is unfortunate for Suwon. I think they played really well on this map. I think their second attack just wasn't as collected as it was the first one. Heartsider's still getting play of the game though. He did play really well. I think both tanks played really well. I think in general, Tattles and FMS played excellent. FMS got so many crucial picks. MP played excellent on Sigma, as well as Tattles also playing excellent on Sigma. It was a very Sigma heavy game. I think that's unfortunate. I'm disappointed that Strike Team didn't get Suwon didn't get the pick, because I think they genuinely played well there, like they have in a lot of their games. It's just small things at the end that are just not letting them get that last kind of push. Thoughts on that final push there, Yoshi?
Not so much on the final push. I was just mostly thinking about Suwon Tigers' entire attack for the last one. They were rushing in, I would say, a little too quickly. I think if they played a little bit more slow and thought about how they could attack in a more efficient way, then we could have seen maybe a second point push. But they just kept rushing in. Yes, they were making picks here and there, but they're losing too many of their crucial members, like the Reinhardt, Lucio, and with that, they couldn't keep a strong hold for those dead people to come back and regroup and push again. They spent too much time regrouping.
Yeah, I think
wasting too much time.
I think for Suwon's initial attack. It was really good, and I think the reason they went so aggressive was because they were attacking second. They knew that Raccoon still had 2 minutes left on the clock, so they pushed the aggression. Raccoons wasn't expecting it. It worked really well. It was a great decision to do it. Opposed to the second push where they tried to do the same thing, be aggressive and just push in. The problem was they had the time advantage in the second one. They needed to play a bit slower. Raccoons were expecting them to play aggressive because they'd done it in the first attack, which is why it didn't work as well. Suwon were really relying on that first pick, and unfortunately, Table just beat the game against FMS on the second attack, whereas FMS had won it the first time. It's unfortunate. I think a slower push or maybe a different tactic might have done better, but I still think Suwon played really well, and I think they can be happy and can hold their heads up high after that. They definitely played well. It's unfortunate how the final table is looking, because it definitely doesn't reflect how well Suwon have done in these last 3 weeks. Talking about the other games, because we need to discuss how this final table ends. I have updated it to include that Strike Team 4-4 drew against Pesky Pachamaris, which means despite how the third game goes, Strike Team 4-4 will finish at the top of the table, which means Strike Team 4-4 will be playing as Suwon Tigers in the playoffs, and Raccoon Ravagers will be playing as Pesky Pachamaris in the other playoff, and then we'll see who meets in the final. Final thoughts is that I think a lot of players played individually well at different points. There was some standout people. I still think FMS pulled out huge picks for his team today. I think both off tanks, MP and Tannels, played absolutely excellent. I think both of their Sigmas were top notch. I can't fault anything they did with it. It was just excellent. I think on both defenses, those Sigmas were crucial at buying so much time, and that minute and a half stall from Suwon's is something I've just it was incredible. I think it was such good teamwork. Honestly, I mean, with the ball coming in and everything else, it was fantastic.
That kind of blew our expectations on how it was going to go, because I thought it was just going to be kind of a sweep all around for Raccoon Ravagers, but Suwon Tigers really held their own, and it was really impressive.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Raccoon Ravagers a little bit more now, because we've seen them play all 3 times. Due to how this tournament works, we wanted to show every team, and for that we needed to follow one team. So Raccoon Ravagers have changed quite a bit throughout when they started. When they started, they had Nebster and Chroma on tank with CRS playing DPS. They played well. They lost to Strike Team 4-4. I think they lost 2-1. They got 1 win out of them. The only team so far to actually get a win over Strike Team. The second week, they unfortunately lost CRS, so Chroma went to DPS, and MP joined as tank. An excellent tank, I might add. They confidently beat Pesky, who are currently, by the sounds of it, holding mostly their own against Strike Team. They didn't have as close a game in the Blizzard, but drew just now. So definitely doing better than last week, it sounds like. But Raccoon this week have changed once again, and Chroma's back on tank, and Nebster's playing DPS. No, I'm familiar with the Nebster table duo, because it was part of my comp team last year, and or a couple months ago. And it's quite formidable. I mean, the reason I think Table and Nebster work so well together, more than I think CRS and Table work together, is because of how different their play styles are. Like, they're not competing over the same heroes. Both of them aren't trying to pick, Ashe or McCree or any of that. Nebster has his own niche. It works. Table has his niche, and it works, and they're completely separate, and I think it gels a lot better. So I think they've gotten lucky with that. Tank wise, I'm interested to see how Raccoon go forward. I think they were a lot stronger on the tank front when it was Chroma and Nebster, not because MP is worse, but because the tanks they play don't line up as well. I think Chroma is a great off tank. I think MP is a great off tank. But when they face teams like Strike Team 4-4, they're going to need a strong main tank. They're going to need a really strong Orisa and Reinhardt, which both of them are capable of. But in the Shadow League, things go differently. So it's interesting to see. Raccoon's support team has been consistent throughout. I think the fact that Lucy keeps staying alive and getting off those reses has been a huge win for Raccoons and has saved them in a lot of spots. Larix's main heal has been great. Last week, he was my stream MVP, staying on the high ground constantly and raining down heals without being contested. Perfect. He was a bit quieter in this game, but that's not to say he didn't do his job perfectly. I just think that he was just doing his job, and it's hard to sometimes notice the support when they're literally focusing so much on actual team hills. But yeah, I think we'll leave the stream there. We've talked as much as we can. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the first playoff. I don't know if it's going to be first versus fourth first, or it's going to be second versus third. But there's a forum post up on the Utah website where you can check out the games, and I will update with this VOD, and I will update it with the following week's matches and matchups. Thank you for casting with me, Ashi. It was great.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's always good to see the Shadow League. If you're watching and you're not part of TAW and you're interested in, thinking this is fun, you might want to participate in a league yourself. There will probably be another one after Christmas, but you can join TAW now by going to TAW.net, join the Overwatch division, get familiar with all the guys, make some friends, and join in for the next one. Maybe you could even lead a squad if that's the kind of player you are. But yeah, definitely get involved if you haven't already. And we want to thank you all for watching. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the first knockout stage of the tournament.